Hi everyone, and welcome to this second live coding like video about Portofino, which is not really live since this is a recording, but it's not scripted either. So you'll see all the when you see myself stumbling, searching for words and not knowing what to do, etc. So it's kind of live. In the last video, if you followed it, we implemented part of a new feature that could become part of an hypothetic Portofino 6. And now in this video, we're doing something much more mundane, which is still very much needed for a project to go forward and to keep being useful to people, and that is fixing bugs. So we have this open bug that, as you can see, has been open for far too long, and I didn't have time to address it. I did have the time, but I concentrated on more, interesting stuff, fun stuff. But you cannot always have fun. You also have to address problems. So here we have this wonderful Christmas background, and so we'll happy holidays everyone, and so we'll proceed with uh, fixing this bug, or actually first trying to reproduce it, and then if there is a real problem, we'll go on fixing it. Actually, I've already read this a few times, and probably you have not since you're just watching the video now. And I think this is two problems in one, and I have already replied to the issue in part, because one of the problems I think is the rendering of decimal numbers with dots or commas, and that's probably a localization setup issue. It's not really a problem. Then probably I will verify this to be sure, but it's probably just that Portofino reacts to a small number of locales, and you can add your own, but by default it just has, I think, English, of course, Italian, Spanish, and maybe German. I don't remember. Portofino 4 used to have more. It also had Arabic and French and others, but not everything has been ported yet to Portofino 5. And of course, if you want to contribute a translation, it's not a huge, amount of strings. It's quite limited, like a few dozens strings. So it's very welcome to have it in more languages. I'm probably most applications end up being in English anyway, but I think it's important to have multiple languages and locales. So one thing is, I think, has to do with assumptions about how the localization works. And yeah, in theory, in Italian, numbers are decimal numbers are separated by the comma and not the dot as in English. But if one has a scientific background, or maybe also a financial background, I'm not sure, but for sure in sciences we tend to use and learn and use the English, or maybe international, I don't know, or English, or maybe US. I don't know where it originated, but still we learn to use in the sciences the dot to separate the decimal part of from the integer part. But in Italian it would be actually inverted. We should in theory it's commas for the decimal part, and dots for as a separator of thousands and millions, and thousand separators. But in the sciences it's inverted. We tend to use the international or English way. So maybe this is a bit of a confusion with the locales, but still we'll verify that if we have time. But the more interesting part, I think, it's this that says that Portofino doesn't allow you to insert some numbers, and that's a bigger problem, of course. So I've already created these tables here in Postgres pgadmin. I have version 12, and here they reported the Postgres version 12, and thanks Mattia to take the time to specify the environment, because this is something that sometimes people forget or give it for granted. We don't have a bug template. We should have asking at least for version of Portofino and version of the database. Here it says 5-star, so I'm not sure which actual 5 version is, because 5.0 is pretty different from 5.3 that we have now. And of course I'm testing the latest development version, but if we can reproduce it, we'll fix it in Portofino 5.3.1, the next version that is going to come out. And instead, if I cannot reproduce it on the development version of Portofino, I'll consider it already fixed by some older commit that unknowingly fixed also this bug, because we have limited resources, so we cannot maintain multiple branches. We tend to just say to people, please migrate to the latest version, at least not crossing majors version. If there is a bug in Portofino 4, we'll fix it and not ask people to upgrade to Portofino 5, because that would be not a complete rewrite of the application, but still a pretty big effort. But when the major version number stays the same, we tend to ask people to upgrade to the latest version. We don't maintain maintenance branches, unless of course some company has a maintenance contract with many designs, but I'm not sure there are any of those left. So if I cannot reproduce it on the development version, I'll just comment this issue with cannot reproduce. I consider it fixed in Portofino 5.3.1, and yeah. So enough talking. Sorry, I talk too much in these videos, and this should be about coding, not talking. So I've already replicated this table here. Maybe here I have to refresh it, I don't know. There was a small errors in the code, a small error in the code here. In the code here there is an underscore that doesn't match with the sequence here, but I guess it's just a minor thing. So first thing we have to do, also I have already launched a Portofino instance. So first thing we have to do is to run the wizard and import this table. This is a new database. It's called Postgres, and we use TT usually here. This is demo TT, the demo application. So we'll add a new connection, not TT, but let's call it test. Driver is Postgres, and the database is Postgres. Username, okay, I think it's Postgres, but I'm not sure. Entity mode map. Let's see if it can connect. Yeah, public. Okay, that's cool. Users and groups, I'm not interested in users and groups. Let's see. Yeah, we have my table, so okay, we can confirm that we have my table, and I guess here I have to log in again, because the default in this application is that pages are not visible to users. So here it says it automatically limits the values in -1 +1. Oh, sorry. So let's see first. Value 10. Must be, it's true, must be less than or equal 1. And why is that? We didn't say anything. So test my table value. This is a float 8 JDBC, length 17, scale 17. That's probably no, but length equals scale. So even if here we say minus 10,000 and 100,000, sorry, and max 100,000. Let's see. Okay, here it's keeping the value. I got worried for a moment because it hadn't. It looked like it didn't, but probably it had to ask the server. So let's return to the my table page and see, but probably what I expect here. Why can't I save? It's not saying anything here. The save button isn't even enabled. Why is that? Permissions. Well, I'm an administrator, so I can do anything. That looks strange. So adding these limits here somehow broke the CRUD, so it's actually looks like more than one problem. This is unexpected. expected for me. Value required. Oh, it says okay. This is not a decimal value, but why won't it? Value is required. Maybe I have some. I mean, why is it invalid? Oh, that's strange. So this is like some client-side validation that is failing. Somehow somehow by putting limits on it, okay, so here this way. Okay. So it's actually right. Sorry, Mattia. I think it's Mattia, yes. Sorry, I answered you that probably it's a locale issue, but yeah, what's happening here? Sorry, this is in Italian because probably I have my browser set to Italian, probably. But what's happening here is that it's using, this is in English, but it's using an Italian format in the GUI, but this message comes from the server because it only happens when I save. Here the client is validating this, while this is not validating, and I should have really a message here, and I don't, and that's definitely a bug. But here this is being validated in the client, even if the GUI is in English. But then if I save it, the server answers in Italian that this is a wrong decimal value. So why isn't this sending? This is sending except language English. So why is that using the Italian locale? That's really strange. So how can we approach this? First, probably we should have launched this in debug mode, and probably we should place some breakpoint in the do save method so as to see what is happening. Sorry, of course do save is only invoked if there is no validation. So here we must put a breakpoint here before validation occurs. No, why is that? HTTP post JSON. Form validate. Maybe it's multipart. I'm not sure. I don't think it's multipart. But let's try here. Yes. For some reason this is multi-part, even if it doesn't have any any file input. But so let's see, now we have context, request, locale. What's that? English. So why is it validating? So why also the request is English, but why is the UI asking for a so this is really a UI problem, I think. This is not a I'm thinking this is a UI problem. Length and scale. So this has a couple of annotations. Mean value. It's empty. So first, the form is made of field set, so we have single field set. So oh, this is the ID ID field, sorry, and it's not editable, so no validation occurs. So this super validate should check for required stuff, and this is okay. So string value is 0. Oh, we'll already have decimal format error because that's happening in the when the form is being read. So we don't have here an option to but we can maybe edit the rest, the I'm not sure, because lately trying to do this somehow lost my authentication token, so I'm not sure what happened here. Stream ended unexpectedly, but why? The boundary is this. I don't think it's cached, it's hashed in some way. So does it work if I no? So I think malformed stream. So yeah, this editing stuff. So I wanted to test whether whether a correctly formatted value would pass. But here we have min value 0, max value 0. So we have a problem here. And why are those 0? Why are those 0? Well, let's put a breakpoint here and let's find out. So this numeric field is ID, so it's not the one we're interested in. This is value. So we have because this is not a decimal field. Why is it only checking for integer types? Okay, we have it here. Max value is 1. So the mean value and max value are, so it takes, how it works, it takes, this is logic that comes from Portofino 4. So it takes the precision, says 10 to the power of the precision minus 1, and then it scales to 7 to the scale, but here we have precision scale 17, and this comes from the database. So it's computing the mean value and the max value as basically 1. 1 excluded. Oh, but then mean decimal value becomes 0 here because we've put this annotation with an empty value. This is a number of issues, really. Annotations with an empty value should be removed. They shouldn't be coerced to 0. And that's a problem. But then we have this, that it's that is probably computed incorrectly because if I go here and say, I don't know, insert into my table value, maybe like this, because maybe it's values, I don't know, 10.0, this should work, I think. Yeah. So yeah, and here I can probably put I don't know, 10.4, and I can update it. How do I update it? Save here. Yes, let's see what the maximum is. This is 10 million. 10 million, so this has 7 zeros. I guess the maximum will have 17 zeros, so let's add -1. So let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 zeros, and this, I expect this shouldn't, oh, this is entered. I added another 0. This works still, so this is hard to visualize. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10 digits. This is 20 digits. Yeah, this. This is double precision, so why is it returning? Scale and E plus 19. Oh, it's truncated. It's truncated to exactly 17 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 17. And what's the maximum power of 10 we can reach? Here it's okay, this has been rounded, so I don't know, 99. Will it ever give me an error? I guess this will be a too serious video. So 99 works and still have 17 digits. 999. No, it's out of range. Okay, so 799, save, out of range. 599, and I reconstruct the math and also go check it. That formula, I'm sure it originated in Portofino 4, so it's probably been wrong all these years, and maybe we never. So 200 works, 299 works, 300, 349, I don't know, no, too much, 319, too much, 301, okay, three ten, too much. This bisection like this thing is taking way too long. So 307, it's okay, 308. So we have to really to fix that that formula. This is really, I think, no, I don't want a bookmark. Delete bookmark. I don't want this. I want to see. Yeah, this is really coming from. Okay, yes. The calculation is really coming from 2010, so it's been there since forever, basically, since I'm not sure. Portofino 4 predates no, probably since early Portofino 4 versions. Yeah, this had already this had still struts. So so my battery is running low, so I can wrap it up here, because this will take another session to fix it. But at least we have identified the problem. We need to find the correct formula, apply it on the server side, and then probably there's also a client side issue. So this is really a more serious issue than I had thought, and I'm pretty surprised that it didn't came out in all these years. So yeah, I'm wrapping it up now. Sorry guys and girls. We'll return to this in another session, but at least we've identified the problem. So happy new year. See you in 2022. Bye. Okay, so I recorded this part several days after the previous part of the video, and in the meantime I've I believe fixed all the issues, and sorry for not recording the actual fixing, but I did that in small fragments of free time, and I didn't bother setting up the whole shebang each time. So I'm just doing this short recap. So basically there were a number of problems, as I hinted in the previous part of the video. Turns out the formula to calculate the minimum and maximum value given the precision and scale of a JDBC database type was indeed correct and that would have been pretty strange if it wasn't correct, because it's, as I said, it's been there since like the very beginning of Portofino 4, and probably comes even from Portofino 3, so it's really an established piece of code, and I would find it very strange if it was so blatantly incorrect. And the formula is indeed correct, but Postgres is reporting bogus values for precision and scale for the double precision type. I don't know if this is a driver problem, JDBC driver problem, or a database version problem, or what is this, or what it is, but the reported values are incorrect, and I'll investigate that more. But if those are the values that come from the database, Portofino really cannot do much about it, and so it will incorrectly calculate -1 as the minimum and 1 as the maximum. But that is only a part of the problem, because then one could, in theory, circumvent this incorrect calculation by manually inserting minimum and maximum values in the upstairs section. But that doesn't work either, and there were a number of problems with that. One was an UI issue that where validation errors, minimum and maximum value errors for number fields were not reported, because in Angular you have to explicitly um, ask for errors and say, okay, if this error is present, then show some error string. And so you don't have um, a generic mechanism that you can employ to say, okay, just show all the errors. It's not as automatic, so you have to be explicit, and we didn't show the error, so the form wasn't valid apparently, uh, for no reason. But the worst problem was that the validator in the UI was incorrectly set up. So when you put an annotation with minimum and maximum values, what happens is that this annotation is, of course, checked in the backend, so to prevent values outside of the range to be submitted. But as a, let's say, as a courtesy to the user, the UI also applies validators that run on the client side, so that you don't have to submit a form in order to discover that some value was out of range. But this part was incorrect, and it set the minimum value as the maximum. Yeah, it added a max value validator with the minimum value. So if you choose a minimum value which is less than the maximum, which is of course the the right thing to do, this is guaranteed not to work, because the value will always be out of range if the maximum is indeed the minimum. So that was it. Now I will push this fix and add a comment to the issue. And so this is how we solve bugs in Portofino. So again, sorry for not recording the actual bug fixing, but that happened in a series of short bursts, so it would have been overkill to record each time, and also probably not a bit boring or not really easy to follow in a series of isolated bursts. So that's it, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you. Happy New Year.